Tuesday, September 30th, market analysis, Stan Ehrlich. Well, we have another update. Stock market indexes are not cooperating with my expectation that they have started to move down into October. We could end up with a double top. It's not likely. We now look like we're going to make some new highs. Now, we're close or very close to being overbought again. So I will still scream bloody murder when I think we have a top, which I did already. The E-mini is close to making a new high, but it hasn't done it yet. And this is the second highest closing for the trend. So it won't take much. We need to start closing below these two little support lines, which are the lows for the last approximate 2 weeks. 616 and below should start a move down. It hasn't happened yet. I'm not saying go short yet. I'm only saying watch out. I think it's supposed to, likely should have the beginning of the break, which would last. Tomorrow's October 1st. So up to 4 weeks. Next, we've got the 1-minute chart. Actually, this is a 5-minute chart now. Close to new highs, which were only made a few days ago. Same kind of conversation, actually, with the SPY. Strong close, not super strong, mind you, just inching its way up, close to the highest high for the whole trend for the historic highs, which is the Ehrlich reversal about 5 days ago, 6, and still is the highest high, but I think it's in jeopardy, meaning if it gets higher than the high on September 23rd, that signal is canceled. But that's the second signal in here. Remember, these happen sometimes in the process of topping out, but not necessarily the highest high or the lowest low, which does happen frequently. So I like it when it's, of course, the highest high or the lowest low, and we have red on top and green on the bottom. Next, we've got the spider 1-minute, 5-minute chart. You can see we're very close to making new historic highs. But that's when things form double tops and so on. So be on your toes, but I can't turn bearish yet. My expectation is that I will be able to with some conviction, but we only have one index with bearish engulfings. Others were overbought. The corrections on the downside were short-lived, not very big, and not what I was looking for. I was looking for a lot more downside follow-through. Next, we got the QQQ, basically the same story, and the 5-minute data, and the NQ NASDAQ futures, same basic story. Very minor differences, but essentially the same situations. And the 5-minute. Now, the YM has been a little softer, a little bit more, and is not quite as close to making new highs. And this is the third or fourth, right in there, highest close, but still not too far from a new high for the whole trend up. Next, the 5-minute chart on the YM. And lastly, the Russell, like the YM, not that close to new highs, but not that far away either. No downside follow-through after starting a move down from overbought conditions, but no violations. So the bear move may have started. I just need to see new lows for a couple of weeks. Next, and the 5-minute chart for the Russell. As you can see, it's lost a bit more ground and hasn't recovered as much. Bonds. Higher high today than the last couple of weeks, but a lower close. I still have on top a bearish engulfing ER sell signal. That's the red day, September 17th. That was a whopper back on April 7th. Big break, 2 days. I expected more to the downside, and I still do. let's see what happens this week or the rest of this week during the beginning of October and starting to slip more, I think. I'm expecting the lows to be broken soon. Same commentary for the 5-year or 10-year notes, the ZN in Ninja. Now, resistance stopped the rally, but support is still holding it a little bit. I think it's going to slide off some more. Almost the high day for the whole move up was the bearish engulfing. It was simply an overbought day on September 11th. But the move down actually began on our bearish engulfing, which was 917. Now we've got crude, where resistance stopped the rally. Talked to you about that 2 days ago. No surprise. Now we're almost at support. I think it'll bounce off support again. We're between a rock and a hard spot. Natural gas, climbing some more. Nothing wrong with the overall longer-term downside objective, which is all the way down to 1.5, maybe even 1.6, but, who's counting? A lot lower. So I need to see soon new lows for the trend on a closing basis. Meanwhile, it might hit the resistance level a third time recently and then stop and start to slip. The pennant formation that I put a bear trend line across the top yesterday or the day before, probably yesterday, seems to be acting normal. I'm expecting a move down to about 1.2, 1.18 support. Next, overbought conditions in gold. Watch out. This should be very close to a top. Very close in time. And probably close in price as well. Silver, same commentary. Today's high is almost the same as yesterday's high. All I needed was one tick above yesterday's high, and then I would have a bearish engulfing ER sell signal like we got in platinum today. Today is the sell signal day. This could be, I think, the beginning of a big break, at least down to probably 1454. And I would not be surprised, because of the overbought levels we had reached, 85, to see it come down a lot more than that. 1350 is not out of the question. Pretty big move down expected now in platinum. If that's true, then probably silver and gold will be affected somewhat also. Copper, managing to hold on to some modest strength lately. It might work up a little bit more, but it's overbought, and I do expect it to turn down very soon. We have another new low and a new low close for about a month and a half plus on soybeans. But we're back to oversold conditions. Back to looking for bullish engulfings. Back to looking for support levels, which we're at, and a turn up. So now I'm getting ready to forecast a move back up again because of the oversold and support. A couple of my favorite conditions. Watch carefully. Major historical support is just a little bit lower. We've got a slightly lower close today on soybean oil. Support is just under the market. It already bottomed out in oversold conditions a week ago, a little bit lower. I don't think there's much more to the downside, and I think soybean oil is in the process of bottoming out. Next, same kind of comment for soybean meal, right at previous lows, oversold, looking for a turn back up. And corn, a new low for a couple of 3-4 weeks, and a new low close. So I could expect a little bit more weakness in corn. But at this particular point, pretty interesting. I'm going to have to point out something. From this low date-wise to the low in price and a green bullish engulfing at the bottom of the market, I can measure the same amount of time into the future, and we are already a couple of weeks late. So is this a shoulder low on July 14th? That's the head, and we're about to make a shoulder low. Well, it's a little lopsided as far as the timing is concerned, but not too lopsided. And I will already draw on the neckline for you. If we do start to turn back up, this is going to look like a head and shoulder bottom, my favorite pattern. But again, we're already a week and a half or so late. So let's see if it turns up. I've got nothing to say it's going to turn up yet except the pattern potentials. Wheat. I'll be damned if this isn't a new low since the war began by a couple of ticks. This is definitely a new low close. Wheat's not oversold. I'm sorry to say it looks like wheat's going to make another set of new lows for another couple of days. Now we've got the 4 stocks I've been following. Shell, gap down, at support, but not oversold. Can we bounce back up to close this little gap? Yeah, very possibly. That would be 72.16-ish. And then turn down to support again. We're still between a rock and a hard spot. Just 2 days ago, it was right at resistance. Boom, boom, we're now at support and gap down. So I think we're going to get a little bounce to close the gap and see what happens next. Apple, sideways for over a week now. No reversals. Gap to close at lower levels. Down around 246, small change. 246.30-ish. I think we're about to come down and close that gap and maybe back down to support at 241.5. I'm not ruling out something deep into the support range, which goes all the way to 225. So I'm a little bit bearish on Apple at the moment, looking for confirmation of that with lower closes, but I'm not getting it yet. Tesla, pretty much the same kind of comment, not exactly the same. Close to being overbought again, not quite. New highs yesterday, but poor close. Didn't do the job today. And we might be slipping back down to close that gap, and maybe back to support, but not yet. I want to see new lows for at least several days on a close, and I want to see a bearish engulfing if I can get one. Next, new high close for the whole trend up on NVIDIA. We got the bottom of the market exactly to the day on April 7th, way back around $90, $95, somewhere in that ballpark. Here it is, $186, not overbought, although not too far away. I think this could pop up to 190 and maybe a little higher quick, immediately. And we're back to the mini. You guys have a great day and profitable trading to you.